Moses Semugoma, you are there. Mr. Kataza John Livingstone, Mrs. Sarah Sentamo. Sarah, where are you? Sarah is not in the... Hey, Sarah. Okay, welcome, Sarah Sentamo. And Ordinand Ronald Ampulira. Yes, this is Mitiana. Let's clap for them. Muhabura, the Right Reverend Kremna Mugisha, he has sent an apology. He lost a grandchild and the burial is today. So he was here yesterday, Your Grace, he traveled back. So please note this apology. The team that are here, Reverend Canon Godfrey Mbitse. Okay. Please, where is your hand? Can I see your hand? Okay, thank you, Bitse. Mr. John Tereraho, Mrs. Hope Ruzaza, and Mr. Richard Barogare. So you will forgive my pronunciation because I come from a culture which does not have S, does not have Z, does not have H in our dialect. So you will forgive my pronunciation sometimes. We are going to Mukono where we are. Your Grace, we are asking the Right Reverend James William Sebagala as the team leader. Thank you. Reverend Yosamo Chintu Semukuye, Mr. Abbott Batamaye Chobe, Batamie Chobe, beautiful. Mrs. Sarah Sewanyana, and Mrs. Millie Nachiria. Thank you. Clap for Mukono. Namirembe, the oldest diocese in Uganda. The Right Reverend Wilberforce Kitiulalila. Welcome. Reverend Canon Henry Segawa. Council Fred Joshua Mpanga, where are you? I saw him yesterday, but today he has decided to be away. Mrs. Mary Sangi Kakembo, and Miss Doris Nakandi Evelyn. Evelyn sent apology? Okay. So you have two apologies. Council Panga is not here and Doris is not here. Nebi Diocese Right Reverend Ozele Awinjo Pons, Reverend Jacob Odongo, Lay Canon Samson Agai Kermundu, Mrs. Rosemary Ageno Nga, and Mr. Jacob Okecha. Yeah, there you are. So that is Navy. Clap for Navy. Members, this introduction and roll call is very important. Pay attention. I'm going to North Ankole. The Right Reverend Stephen Namanya. Thank you. Reverend Canon Edward Namanya. Dr. Simwe Frank Rababinda, Mrs. Tukairwa Nora, thank you, and Mrs. Patience Kanzira. Nairobi Hospital. She's below you, so what do you say? That is an apology. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you so much. That is an apology from North Ankole. I'm going to North Karamoja. The Right Reverend James Nasak, right here. Reverend Peter Henry Otiang. Mr. Abach Peter. Mrs. Patience Ojok. and Mrs. Iko Penina. Okay, thank you. Clap for North Karamojo. I'm going to North Kigezi. The Right Reverend Patrick Tugume, Reverend Enoch Karamuzi, Lay Canon Benson Tureme, Mrs. Macklin Sabiti, and Mr. Masco Edson. Welcome. Clap for North Kigezi. I'm going to North Mbale, the Right Reverend Samuel Gidudu, and Reverend Jackson Magumbe. I have Lay Canon Engineer Elisha Waskira, Mrs. Agnes Wodada, and Reverend Geoffrey Wamaungu. You are Moses, not Reverend. Okay. Please, members, correct this. Mr. Moses Wamaungu. Then you come to me for consultation. I'll put these things right. We are going to Northern Uganda, the Right Reverend Leum Godfrey, and Reverend Canon Eunice Ojo Opok, Mr. Onen Charles, Mrs. Achien Caroline Chick, that is apology. Please, members, note apology from Caroline Chick. Mr. Oko Obama Emmanuel, Youth Representative. Clap for Northern Uganda. We are going to Northwest Ankole, the Right Reverend Amos Magezi, Reverend Canon Medad Kahanji, Lay Canon Dr. Amos Businje, Mrs. Ilda Mwesije, Mr. Alec Turiomoru. That is good. That name, Mr. Alex, where are you? Thank you. Honorable Mbabas is telling me it is pronounced Turiomoru Jendo. Thank you. I'm going to Rwenzori now. Right Reverend Ruben Kisembo, Mr. Robert Abigaba, Reverend Robert Abigaba, Engineer Charles Kateba, Mrs. Rhoda Bierohanga, Mr. Amos Kasoro. Thank you. Clap for Rwenzori. We are about there, Your Grace. We are going to survey the Right Reverend Paul Kipto Masaba, Reverend Boniface Chemwemon, Mr. Mugusho Delmak, Mangusho. Okay, it is written Mungusho. I will have to correct that. Mrs. Margaret Chelimo and Mr. Joel Chemaswet. Thank you. Clap for Sebe. Your Grace, we are going to Soroti, the Right Reverend Kosea Odongo, Reverend Canon Naftali Opwata, Mr. Samuel Enyutu, Mrs. Elizabeth Ebasu, and Mr. Jonah Osonge. Thank you. Clap for Soroti. South Ankole, the Right Reverend Nathan Aimbisibwe, Reverend Canon Kremna Mwesigwa, Dr. Bildad Baguma, Mrs. Rita Humuza, and Mr. Benjamin Musime. Thank you. Let's clap for South Ankole. We are going to South Rwenzori, the Right Reverend Nelson Baluku. Reverend Noah Masereka Kijuguta Senior. Is there a junior somewhere? Yes. Okay. Mr. Tabu Jackson, Mrs. Grace Kimekeke, is a Kambere Yosia. Thank you. West Ankole, as we clap for South Rwenzori. West Ankole, the Right Reverend Johnson Twinumuzuni, the Reverend Canon Godfrey Mubangizi Bejura, my OB, Mr. Willis Bashasha, Lay Canon Jovia Muhanji, Muhanguzi, yes, Muhanguzi, and Mr. Aaron Muramira. Welcome. Clap for West Ankole. Number 36, Your Grace, is West Buganda. Repeat it. The Right Reverend Henry Katumba Tamale, right over there, is leading the team in the persons of Reverend Canon Moses Kaimba, Mr. Moses Nsereko, Mrs. Millie Sentamu, and Mr. Eria Chibulwe. Thank you. And finally, Your Grace, number 37, West Lango. The Right Reverend Julius Caesar Nina, Venerable Reverend Mackay Odiek, Honorable Benson Walter Dila Oyuku, Mrs. Grace Adupa, and Mr. Otim Peter. Can you clap for West Lango? Your Grace, we are done with the roll call. And now we are going to have greetings from partners, Your Grace. We are on page 2 of our document. Yes, Your Grace, thank you for reminding me. I think the guest of honor, you will introduce that. But some of our special guests who are here with us, Your Grace, I take this honor to introduce Honorable Amama Mbabazi, just next to the Dean. We have Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa, where is she? Who is not yet here. She may join us. We have Honorable David Bahati. We have Reverend Canon Dr. John Senyonyi. We have Reverend Aaron Mwesije, right there at the corner. Partners, Your Grace, I am not going to mention this. I will use the opportunity coming next to invite them. Let me also introduce the observers whom we have invited. The Right Reverend Dr. Joel Obetia. We have invited Reverend Canon Professor Christopher Biroanga. We have invited Reverend Canon Dr. Olivia Banja, Reverend Canon Dr. Rebecca Nyegenye, Reverend Onesimus Asimwe, Reverend Canon John Awodi, Reverend Canon Michael Mukama, Reverend Canon Nelson Kawesa. Welcome. Ex officio, Your Grace, the Chairperson, Board of Finance, Lay Canon Joram Kainano, Chairperson, Board of Health, Reverend Professor Sam Luboga, Chairperson, Board of HCT, Right Reverend George Bagamunda, Chairperson, Board of Education, Right Reverend Nathan Aimbisiwe, who was introduced already from South Ankole. Chairperson, Board of Audit and Quality Assurance, Lay Canon Maxwell Paul Ogentho. Chairperson, Board of Missions and Outreach, Right Reverend Wilberforce Kitio Uluarira, who was introduced as Bishop of Namirembe. Chairperson of Board of Lands was not yet with us. Board of Management and Services, we don't have any person yet. Chairperson CCHCL, that is Engineer Hilary Obonyo, we invited him. The Right Reverend John Charles Odukami was invited as a special guest. He represents the retired bishops in the House of Bishops. The Right Reverend Dunstan Bukenya, right there. The Right Reverend Jackson Matovu, in charge of Namugongo site development. The Principal Provincial Chancellor, Lay Canon Barnabas Tumusingize. Deputy Provincial Chancellor, Mr. Nabos Moaire. Provincial Head of Laity, Mr. John Tererao, who is also again a member from Moabra Diocese. Provincial Head of Clergy, Reverend Canon Geoffrey Bierogaba, who comes from Kampala as Head of Clergy Representative. Provincial Mothers Union President, Lay Canon Dr. Ruth Senyonyi, Mrs. Vice Chancellor, UCU Professor Aaron, right there. I need also to introduce these others from the Provincial Secretariat. Reverend Dr. Paul Kakoza, the Director of Education, Church of Uganda, is right there. Mr. Bala Muhebwa, the Provincial Treasurer, is right there. Reverend Jasper Tumuimbise, the Group CEO, CCHCL, right there at the back. Mr. Jane Chigundu, the Provincial Human Resource Manager. She was working in the team here. Oh, she's just right there. As time goes on, we shall be showing them to you as they pass around. The Reverend Canon Captain Titus Baraka, the caretaker of missions directorate, is right there. Reverend Anatole Damba, Simon Peter, the incoming director of missions and outreach, just behind there. Reverend Richard Mugume Rukundo, the coordinator youth and children's ministry, is right there. Mr. Stephen Angala, program officer, directorate of health, he should be somewhere on my right. Reverend Andrew Agaba, the director HCT, household and community transformation. Where is Agaba? Oh, he's just seated there. Mrs. Barbara Mugisha, the Mothers Union and Family Life Program Coordinator, Church of Uganda. She's seated there. Your Grace, we have Reverend Canon Dr. Alison Bafoot. Our apologies, he has traveled to Kigali and she's not with us this morning. Other members on the team, Reverend Paul Waswa Sembiro, is just right there, the UCU chaplain. Mrs. Bridget Mugasira. These are people who did a lot of work. Mrs. Peace Luasampeja, Mrs. Rachel Nakamia, Mr. Charles Nahamia, and some of the provincial staff I did not mention is Reverend Johnson Kansime, the Archbishop's chaplain, Irene Anena, the program officer, gender, Obadiah Kasemeire, the person in charge of our work in the province, Reverend Susan Stella Meso, the Archbishop's personal assistant, Frida Nyakato Aumuza, the provincial secretary, Eunice Abalo, Mirembe Mugala, Josephine Ninsima, Sadiki Adams, our communication. We have Namirembe Guest House, Ellen. I don't know whether she's here. We have Centenary Publishing House, Lillian Andaru. Uganda Bookshop, Rose Karibijwe. Loeza Training Center, Reverend Chrysostom Akwech. Bera Vocational Institute, Juliet Gabirano. Church of Uganda Namugongo Matters Museum. We have Mr. Stephen Nyombi. We have Isaac Wagala, Fred Andra. This Fred Andra has served Church of Uganda a long time, Your Grace. I wish he was here. You could have. He's there. Andra. I'm calling like I am in Lango. Yeah. We just call people by their names. Andra, where are you? And they come. Your Grace, Nicholas, Winnie Nabifo, Sheila Gibwa, Wabuluka Davis, Kizita Suman, Aleganyira Joseph, Edric Mande, Rogers Peterson Kasambeko of Kido. Where are you? He's just behind there. Joan Kafuko, Nantege Doreen, Joyce Lunyolo, Barbara Mbabazi, Richard Akugiziwe, Kathy Annington. Where's Kathy Annington? Nambaziwe Agnes, David Msubuga, and all the provincial drivers. We want to welcome you in this meeting. Intercessors, Your Grace, Reverend Canon Christine Shimanya, Caro Turiatemba, Jovia Nuagaba, Joyce Sengie, Nesmas Nsijige, Eva Biarohanga, Benson Bukengana, Emma Oguti, Agnes Chibuka, Julian Ayabwe, Christine Maholo. And the media team that we have invited, Your Grace, include Jonan Mwebembezi, Patrick Bazalaki, Ivan Kimbowa, John Cliff Wamala, Joyce Nakato, Daniel Mwesigwa, Arnold Serembwa, Sekabira Eliphaz, Sylvia Mayambala, Peter Sava, Olive Nakutude, Shamsad Naluja, Victoria Bugembe, and Damale Nakaye. Your Grace, these are the list of the invited persons for this Assembly 2022. God bless all of you. Your Grace, now I have to move the Assembly to the next item, and that is the greetings from partners. So partners who are around, please, I would like to begin with the CMS Africa. I'm giving them 3 minutes. Help me to count down the minutes. If they beat the 3 minutes, they have a gift. So Reverend Dr. Moses Busendich is our representative of CMS Africa. He's a Ugandan. In Kenya.
Thank you, PS. I hope the 3 minutes don't include the seconds walking here. Your Grace, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, and the chief guest, Dr. James Mwangi, the respective houses of the Provincial Assembly of the Church of Uganda. I bring you warm greetings in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. From the CMS family worldwide, and indeed CMS Africa, where we sit in Nairobi. I know when we mention CMS, 3 questions may come in your mind. Number 1, is CMS still alive? Number 2, if it is alive, what is it doing? And if it is working, how can I be involved? Can I answer these 3 questions very quickly? Number 1, CMS Africa is indeed alive, although it is old with challenges of old people. What is CMS Africa doing? Our purpose actually is to create 24/7 Christians. And CMS in the first place is Church Mission Society. Church Mission Society. So we would like to bring and make 24/7 Christians through discipleship. And if I can summarize, we renew mindsets and transform nations. In our programs, we have two specific strategic focus areas. Strategic focus area number one is biblical worldview and stewardship. And strategic focus area number two is building partnerships for local and global mission. In strategic focus area number one, we have 4 programs which I recommend to any Christian. Number one, it's holistic transformation leadership that transforms leaders. Number 2 is financial freedom for families, which is a biblical-based financial literacy for everybody. And you would love to go through this one. Number 3, we disciple young people. The youth are here with what we call our 3D, discover, develop, and deploy. When youth discover their talents, God-given talents, develop them, and deploy them, they turn out to be God-fearing entrepreneurs who are going to support the church. And number 3, we support the discipleship of women specifically. Our intention is to disciple the church and make disciples for Jesus Christ in areas where the church is struggling under specific conditions. Some places the church is struggling under conflict, particularly armed conflict. And in some places the church is struggling under persecution. And our strategic focus area is to also reach specifically those places. With the third question is, how can I be involved? You may want to pay forward the gift that the missionaries gave to you. The Church of Uganda actually is established by Church Mission Society, and all of us here are beneficiaries. Would you consider paying forward to do mission in other places? You can see us, we have a desk here. Number 2, you can invite us or sponsor a program in your church. Your people need to be discipled in stewardship. Invite us, we'll give you a proper biblical financial literacy and even transformation of leadership and the rest that I have spoken about. I pray that God blesses the Provincial Assembly and look forward to meeting all of you individually. Thank you.
Yes, my chaplain, Archbishop's chaplain, is reminding me that it must be sanitized. I'm going to fall sick if I don't. Has he met 3 minutes? Yes, he deserves a gift. Let's clap for him. Dr. Bush, you have won yourself a gift. Please come and pick it. I am not going to invite Equity Bank because the big drum of Equity is here. So he's going to speak his art out. The time will come. Let me invite the housing finance. Thank you. Housing finance.
Good morning to you all, and greetings from Housing Finance Bank. My name is Angela Ndaula, and representing our managing director who couldn't make it because of other commitments that were abrupt, although he was on schedule to be here. And we are glad to be here to attend the Provincial Assembly, and it is an honor. We thank you very much for inviting us. As Housing Finance Bank, we are an indigenous bank that has been in the market for about 54 years, and we are really happy that we are now very relevant where we are operating, especially with the church. And we have some programs that we are running with the church, especially Kido. I think you're all aware that Kido is a baby of the Church of Uganda, and we are a proud sponsor of Kido, and we support Kido activities. Besides Kido, we've also gone ahead to engage, knowing that our core is housing and construction, to support the church on projects where we have construction. For example, I think Bishop Sebagala, he's our partner. We are supporting with the construction of the pension house. And we are really proudly associated that we are relevant to the church because this is the core, and we know that from the church, the foundation of the country is being built. So we thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us. We are also happy to support other projects as they come along. Please call on us, and we will be ready as long as we are able to support. So we want to thank you very much and wish you all the best, and just to make you aware that we are happy to continue partnering. Thank you. I think I've done 3 minutes, and I'm also looking forward to getting out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Housing Finance. In my roll call, NUDS was not there. UNOC, that is Uganda National Oil Company, was not there. So now I am asking if National Drug Authority is there. That is good news. Now I can invite Dan Church Aid, our partner. Let's put our hands together to invite Dan Church Aid.
Thank you for inviting me to this great space on a great morning. I'm humbled to be here. There's not much time for protocol in 3 minutes, so I hope you forgive me. But I'll do a short one. Your Grace, the chief guest, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, my Lord Bishops, the clergy, House of Laity, and friends in general in this great hall. My name is Anders Hansen. I'm the country director of Dan Church Aid here in Uganda, and I'm simply here to thank you and to thank Church of Uganda for the journey of collaboration and partnership that we have been on with Church of Uganda centrally since 2017, when we joined hands under the campaign which is called 16 Days of Activism. I think many of you might know it. It's a campaign that focuses on preventing gender-based violence. And together with Church of Uganda, we were so happy to join hands on bringing strong voices of faith leaders into the space of preventing GBV, gender-based violence, and promoting gender justice. So that's where we started at this level. Since we have expanded also our partnership to the Teso region, Kumi Diocese, they are also present here today, and also later to mid-central Uganda, several districts there. We are partners, Church of Uganda and Dan Church Aid, with many others, under the ACT Alliance Forum Uganda, where we join hands on many important agendas. I mentioned gender justice before, promoting gender justice, but we have also added on climate justice, which is a very important agenda, as you all know, in the world today, not only in Uganda, but it's a global one. And then, not to forget, also humanitarian response. Under the ACT Forum of Uganda, we can, together with Church of Uganda and other members, join hands when there is need for acute humanitarian action. And Dan Church Aid, in its nature, is a humanitarian actor with long-standing experience in this field. So sometimes we join hand in the ACT Forum with an ACT appeal to respond to situations such as Church of Uganda is leading now in Karamoja, and there's also one underway for the southwest situation with the Congolese refugees that I'm sure you're aware about as well. I'll end it there. Before I end it, I'll just also thank TEDO, Teso Diocese Development Organization. We also have an active partnership with them, actually since 2013, on social accountability, where we work with community-based monitors, closely with the local government on demanding for and monitoring service delivery together with communities. So this is faith actors together in promoting social justice. With that, I thank you for my 3 minutes. I hope I managed within time. I would be happy to receive a gift as well.
Thank you, Anderson. There is a gift for you.
Okay, I managed.
You manage.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Anderson, for that important words. May I invite Worldwide Fund? Worldwide Fund, these are partners working on climate justice, and these are partners working on tree planting and making sure that our environment is rejuvenated. Welcome.
Thank you so much, MC. Your Grace, the Archbishop, all protocol observed. My name is Rita Mugwanya, and I think I'm proudly associated to Reverend Egesa. Reverend Egesa, he baptized me, and I'm also associated to Central Busoga. So I bring you greetings from Worldwide Fund for Nature. It is a global conservation organization operating in over 90 countries around the world. We decided to come into partnership with the church because we believe that we have about 2 billion Christians. So if each of these Christians got onto the mantle to protect the environment, we would achieve so much. Today, I just want to talk about plastic pollution in Uganda, and that is the campaign we want to do with the church. Every 1 minute passing, we have over 1 million tons of plastic bags and single-use plastic bottles bought on the Ugandan market. That includes the bottles sitting in front of you. And I'm very sure that you will only have them for the next 15 minutes, and after that, you will not know where they go. So these are going to end up in our rivers, our lakes, our environment. So the time is now. More alarming statistics. Today, a quarter of the fish in the water bodies in Lake Victoria, in Choga, have plastic in their gut. That means you are consuming it. On an annual basis, every Ugandan consumes plastic worth a quarter of an ATM card. So this is coming with a lot of risks to our health, but it is also coming with a lot of risks to environment. So dear Archbishop, we want you to hold the flag together with this General Assembly so that we demand that our government passes a ban on single-use plastic. In the East African region, it's only Uganda that is lagging behind. Why? And as Christians, we know that our mandate is to protect the environment as God created it. So I call upon you to join this campaign, and WWF in the next financial year is going to contribute $2 million US dollars to this campaign. So when we come to your dioceses, when we come to your, what are they called? Yes, when we come there, please welcome us and let us rally this campaign. Let us start with Christians. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rita.
Am I in time?
You have made time.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes. Rita has come with a very disturbing message, Your Grace. Your Grace, we are looking forward to finding an opportunity to meet the Speaker of Parliament. And when we meet the Speaker of Parliament, that is the agenda we want to present to her, so that this Kavera business should be abolished. But the problem is, Reverend Ongeng has a factory that produces Kavera. And Reverend Ongeng, when he hears about that, he gets irritated because my business is going to be affected. So how do you tell Reverend Ongeng to leave Kavera and go to another business? That is where we are, Your Grace. And we need to stand firm as Christians and walk in light. Please, can I inform the drivers that your session is going on in M1, that's left-hand side here. Please go there. Your Grace, as I invite the next person, I want to introduce Dr. Rose Mutumba, the medical director, Mengo Hospital, is right here. Let's give a hand clap to Dr. Rose Mutumba, the one leading the oldest hospital in the country. Thank you. Let me also introduce Reverend Canon Kewaza Stephen of Build, coordinator for Church of Uganda. I think he arrived, he's just right there. Let's clap for him. Those are part of the team we have invited. Uganda Protestant Medical Bureau, are you there? Dr. Tony is walking. As Dr. Tony comes, the Joint Medical Store you will be preparing, and the Bible Society will wrap it up. I don't know whether they will get a gift. Thank you, Tony. Let's clap for Dr. Tony, UPMB, who's coming. We're about to do it on.
Thank you very much. PS, Your Grace, the Archbishop, my Lord Bishops are present, the Chief Guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me. I want to take this opportunity to just mention just two things. One, my governance leaders that are here, Board of Trustees, who are among the bishops, members of the board who are here, I want to recognize you. By the grace of God, UPMB having been established in 1957 by hospitals like Mengo Hospital, we've grown to currently mobilize resources and do technical work in our health facilities. Specifically, we are building capacity of our health facilities, hospitals, Health Center 3s, Health Center 4s, and Health Center 2s. And at the moment, we give glory to God that we've so far mobilized this financial year up to about 25 billion Uganda shillings that is going straight into our hospitals to fund health workers, to fund medicine through Joint Medical Store, and to fund infrastructure development. And looking at the time that I have, I want to encourage all of us as dioceses to focus on sustainability. How are we going to sustain our health facilities as donor funds continue to dwindle? One, we must mobilize funds, of course, through our government, and that's one arm that we are working on. And we appreciate the government of Uganda that is also putting in up to 12 billion into our network facilities. But we want to grow that further. Two, we want to sustain our facilities through mobilizing resources from us people who have those resources. And that is why we are focusing on ensuring that the entire church is involved in health insurance from the grassroots level upwards. So those are the areas that I just wanted to quickly talk about, but our focus is on quality, and we want to thank God who has enabled us to partner and collaborate and strengthen our partnership with the church, both from the top to the bottom. Thank you very much, PS. I want to finish at that level, and to thank you for partnering with us. But as you go back, please mobilize your health facilities to be members of UPMB, because if they are not member facilities, then they cannot benefit from the drugs at GMS, from the scholarships that we are offering. So thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Tony, don't go. You have made it. There is a gift for you. That gift I'm giving to different partners is a very interesting gift. It is a gift that says, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him may not perish, but do what? So I'm giving them everlasting life. So, Dr. Bildad, that is Joint Medical Store. We are good to go. We have only one more. As Dr. Bildad comes in, may I take this honor to introduce the Secretary General, Interreligious Council of Uganda, Mr. Joshua Chitakule is in the house, just right there. Clap for him, welcome. And also the Director for Church of Uganda Family TV, Mr. Amos, is seated somewhere. Where are you, Amos? Just right there, Dr. Bildad.
Thank you very much, PS. Your Grace, the Archbishop, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, my Lord Bishops, the clergy present here, fellow delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I think among the partners who have been called here, may I come in two capacities, both as a partner but also as a delegate to this assembly. I want to thank God for you and for the church, but more importantly for the partnership that we have as Joint Medical Store with the church. Joint Medical Store has been in existence now for 43 years, having been formed in 1979 by the Uganda Protestant Medical Bureau and the Uganda Catholic Medical Bureau. And we stand with the church in running the healing ministry of the church. We are privileged and happy to be associated with the church, and indeed with all of you, more so with the health facilities that we serve. Our duty is mainly to provide medicines and medical supplies to the institutions of the church. Although we do others, but the key one are the institutions of the church. And we stand here to thank you for that partnership that we've had, and to encourage that that partnership should continue as we continue to serve God. I just want to mention two things. Number one, that as part of that process of serving the facilities and the church, we know that one of the biggest problems that facilities have is being able to access equipment of high value. And therefore, we have started a program to support facilities to access equipment that they may otherwise not be able to access, and then we make arrangements with them to pay slowly at an affordable rate. That's one key thing. Secondly, we believe that in order for us to be able to carry out the non-profit work, we must generate money. And therefore, we formed a company called Joint Health Care, which is doing business on behalf of Joint Medical Store and therefore to support the facilities. We have started production of a few items. There's a tent just on my right there. You can go there and see some of them. But also, in 1 week's time, we'll open an oxygen plant that will be producing the best high-quality oxygen available in this country. So I'd like to encourage you, first of all, to come to us in the tent to get more information about JMS, but also to support the mission of Joint Medical Store. And our only ask, and the biggest, is that please, as we work in our dioceses and in our churches, let us encourage the church facilities to be faithful to Joint Medical Store, to support us, and also to implement the resolution of the Provincial Assembly to ring fence the management and running and equipment and servicing of health facilities by Joint Medical Store. May God bless you.
Some of these, thank you, Doctor. Some of these things are outside there. You will have to go there. And now, Your Grace, I have only two to honor the Bible Society. Come, then I will invite the UCU Vice Chancellor to receive your guest at his home. So let me invite Bible Society.
Delegates of this assembly, as I walk off this podium, I will hand over a Life Essentials Study Bible to His Grace the Archbishop. This is a Bible which combines print and digital. You read the Bible using print, you get the notes using digital. You go with your phone and scan and move away with the notes. It's our newest product in the country. And so I'll hand over a copy to His Grace when I am leaving as a way of saying thank you to the Church of Uganda for the support you've given Bible Society over the years, but particularly in the last 7 years, as we have been rallying the whole country to raise resources for us to put up a new Bible house. And I am here to bring the good news that we are about there. We have also personalized a copy of each of these Bibles for all the sitting bishops who are here. And in the interest of time, bishops, you will visit our tent. You will find your Bible there with your name in there. And so take a copy with you. Do not leave it. If you want to know, ask Bishop Gad Akanjona. He has gotten a copy. He knows what this Bible looks like. Over the 7 years from 2014, brethren, you know, we got wrong money for people to support us so that we can do Bible study work. We rejected the money. By the grace of God, we came to you, you gave us the money. Through the handwritten Bible, I can see so many hands here of you who have written verses, not so. Yes, you have. And each one of you gave us 100,000. We also came back to you asking you for life membership. And many of you are life members, aren't you? Can I see the hands? There you are. Your Grace, you can see today I'm at a loss. I might not raise life members from here because almost all of you seem to be life members. And then the Bible week. And we ask you this year to participate in the Bible week as we end December. Brethren, 1st of September, last year, we started that house. 16th of December, we are opening it. This is a miracle. Pass on Bombo Road, 8-storied building, 2 basement parkings is going to be finished. The only materials we are bringing in, those who are engineers, are the cladding to do the finishes, so that what you see there is a picture portraying an open Bible. Read your Bible, pray. Let's stop there. My 3 minutes are too short. That's the picture there. And friends, people on the high table here, we want to invite you in these categories here. Honorable, Right Honorable Mbabas, these are your categories, 100 million. Our guest from Kenya, as we pray for you for peaceful elections. That's your category. But the rest of us members here, a life member pays 1 million shillings. And by December, as we open the house, we are remaining with 50 slots to make 2,000 life members. And that is 2 billion towards this building. And we shall unveil that and put it in the building. Would you want to be part of those names? Some of you already are, but if you are not, could you just put up your hand? You want to be a life member by December, 1 million shillings. 1 hand, 2 hands, I was looking for 50, 3 hands. Is the hand there? So we'll get you this. And like I promised you, even as I walk out of here, just put the hands up. Members, more hands. Life members, ask your neighbor, are you a life member of Bible Society of Uganda? And let's have that. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Your Grace, you have gotten a gift on behalf of all the members of the assembly. So we are grateful. And Bishop, you have also been favored. And when you walk out at a time, I am going to give him also a gift. Peter, please have this gift. Don't go without a gift. You have given much out. So, Your Grace, let me now invite Professor Aaron to come and do the welcome, and others like Kido and the family TV, you will have a time later after this.
Thank you, PS. Your Grace, the Archbishop of the Church of the Province of Uganda, our chief guest, the former Prime Minister, my Lord Bishops. Praise the Lord. Amen. Welcome to Uganda Christian University. The young people here say this is the coolest university in Uganda. We have been known as the most innovative university, one of the few that survived the pandemic by being innovative. And so that is our signature, leading the innovation and creativity in this country and the higher education sector. We also pride ourselves in being the only university that produces bishops and archbishops. No other university in Uganda can do that. So it's a joy to host you, our bishops and provincial assembly members, and our Archbishop and Chancellor. You're well taken care of. We have prepared for you, and you're going to enjoy your stay. This is the university where you want to send your child, because they live with a complete education for a complete person. They do not live the same. They go with the knowledge and the values that are based on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We do give programs in all fields, from medicine to dentistry to nursing and midwifery to social sciences, engineering, to theology, and so every program here is available. Do send your children. Above all, this year we are starting a special program for teachers. Teachers, are you there? I also graduated as a teacher. So we are launching a special program for teachers because the government has required that all teachers should have a degree. And in partnership with the dioceses and the province, we are going to be launching out an advert targeting teachers. Please apply, because we are going to give a special tuition rate for teachers, special payment terms for teachers, and we'll work with the diocese so that we come to you using open distance and e-learning so that you study from the comfort of your diocese. May God bless you, and we wish you a good stay with us. God bless you.
Professor, you have a gift. Your Grace, that brings us to greetings from partners. And before I move far away, let me recognize the following organizations that supported this meeting, which has begun yesterday. We want to thank Mengo Hospital for supporting us. Please, can you clap your hands? National Drug Authority, Church Commissioners Holding Company, Equity Bank, Housing Finance Bank, Church Mission Society, Uganda Bookshop, Centenary Publishing House, Nambereme Guest House, Provincial Secretariat and its various directorates, Uganda Christian University. All this gave us support, so we want to thank God for that. And we want to thank you again. There are other requests here which we shall bring to you later. But now, let's move on to the next item on our agenda. And I've been asked by His Grace the Archbishop and the Dean of the province so that we can make appointment of resolutions committee. Then we can move on. We are still on page 2. This committee, Professor Chancellor, would you like to help me in this nomination of the committee for the resolutions? There is a microphone on your desks. Just help me pick it up from there. We always elect 3 members. 1 should come from the House of Bishops. 1 should come from the laity. 1 to come from the clergy. These are people who will be putting our resolutions together, and these resolutions will be read to the assembly before we depart to agree that whatever we are. Professor Alfred, I have seen your hands.
I think that one passes. Maybe Reverend Canon Geoffrey Biargava can propose a name from the House of Clergy.
Yeah, he's the chair.
He's the chair of the House.
Your Grace, Chair, I propose the Reverend Kafero from
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, that one carries. And Provincial Head of Laity, can you please nominate someone from the House of Laity? Can he stand up, please? Thank you. So, PS, that's done.
Oh, is it good to have a lady also on the committee? Switch it on.
I don't know whether the provincial head of Mothers Union can have a lady. Thank you.
Dr. Jenina. So let me invite those 4. Please, can you give us a chair somewhere where they can be coordinating themselves? They let them sit together on a table. So the Right Reverend Johnson Twinemuzuni, please can you walk up here? And Reverend Kafero from Central Buganda, Mr. Avutia from Madi West Nile Diocese, and Dr. Jenina from Ankole. So, Your Grace and Dean, I think I am going to stop here for now. Then I invite you to take over the leadership of the meeting. Thank you. Please also help me feel good. Clap for me.
Shall we again give a hand of applause for the PS? He's very knowledgeable. He knows the things in and out. Praise the Lord. I am Bishop Joseph Abura. He says the oldest or the eldest of all the bishops. The bishops that are still working in the province of Uganda. That's why I am the dean of the province. My work now is actually to invite His Grace, the Archbishop, to address us. Thank you.
Listen to God's words. And this I have in my mind, and I have hope. For the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. For His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. And I said to myself, the Lord is my portion. I'll always wait for Him. It is from Lamentations chapter 3, verse 21 to 25. Allow me to appreciate the Provincial Secretary for the good work he has done. He has welcomed all of us, and in case you are not welcome, you should know you are welcome. And we want to thank God for the fire He has brought us, especially for taking care of us during the first and second lockdown. God is good. Allow me, on your behalf, to welcome our chief guest, Dr. James Mwangi, the Group Chief Executive Officer, ICT Group Holdings, Nairobi, Kenya. You are welcome. We can clap a little more to welcome him. We want to appreciate our partnership with the Equity Bank, and your people here are serving us well. Mr. Chirubi, who is here, Mr. Anthony Chitoka, and others who are serving with them, and we are so grateful. As you are all aware, it's because of Equity Bank that we are able to join hands and constructed and completed Janani Room Church House. So thank you very much, and also for allowing us to pay slowly by slowly, but we are almost there. And thank you for a big gift you gave us last time we came here. Towards our date, you gave us a gift of 1 billion. And you would clap a little more because 1 billion is not a simple thing. And thank you very much. When I visited you in Nairobi, and we had a conversation related to business evangelism. And thank you for accepting to come so that we continue to strengthen our partnership. Before you, I want to appreciate the bishops, the clergy, the lay people. They have done a great work. They have been able to raise resources that has helped us to reduce our debt, which was bringing a lot of anxiety. But now, you know, with church house and other internal debts, it was around 60 billions. But now we have reduced it. It has come down now to 15 billions. And we are really grateful. 15 billions. And by God's grace, because of you and His grace, we are going to crush that debt. And we are just joking, and my friend Anthony Chituka was telling me, but your grace really, how could you really work hard to complete this date. I didn't know that I could be penalized for finishing it early. That's their rules. But they said, no, we can't penalize you because we are partners. And so we are going to crush it, and then we'll be able to have more projects in this time of business unusual for business evangelism. Thank you very much. We want to appreciate you. And at that note, I want to welcome the Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, who is here, who spearheaded this campaign of reducing this date. Thank you very much for the work you have done, but also for sparing time, because we know you are really a busy person, but you have spared this time to come when you were invited. And you know God calls busy people. God never entrusted any responsibility to a person who's not busy. Peter was a fisherman. Paul was a philosopher. Luke was a physician, a doctor. All these people, they were very busy. And God cannot invite redundant people. He always calls busy people. So thank you so much for coming. And all of you, thank you for coming. I have my church where I'll come and present to you. By this time, let me take this singular honor to invite our guest of honor, our friend, Dr. James Mwangi, to come and address us. Welcome.
Your Grace, the bishops, the clergy, the entire delegate body of the 26th Provincial Assembly of the Church of Uganda, Right Honorable, former Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a great honor and a privilege for me to have been given this opportunity to come and be with you. And I'm really glad I was not invited to come at 11. I was told to come and start with you in the morning. Deeply appreciate the opportunity to communion together. Canon John this morning told us that when you go to heaven, don't ask whether they are Anglicans, because they be none. But for the sake of identity, I'm feeling at home because I'm an Anglican, and that's why I could partake and follow everything that we were doing this morning, and also partake to the Holy Communion. The Archbishop has talked a lot about our relationship and partnership, and allow me, congregation, to recognize two of our staff who have been dedicated to ensure this relationship continues to thrive. That is Samuel Kazomba. Samuel, how are you? Very good. That's Samuel Kazomba. And my friend JB. And JB. Those two are fully dedicated to ensure. And, but the strength of this relationship is visible that today, as the group chief executive of Equity, which is made of 13 companies, I'm here. But the managing director of Uganda is also with me, Samuel. And his two directors, Anthony and Elizabeth, maybe two. As you can see, I don't know who is running the bank in Uganda. Because they are here, it shows the strength of the relationship. But I'm also glad there is church house that signifies what we have done together. And thank you for giving us that opportunity. But we are more grateful because you gave us a home that we call our headquarters. That is why, Your Grace, you can't be penalized, because we wonder, whose building is that? 75% of the space of your building is now occupied by Equity Bank Uganda. So, as you can see, you constructed our headquarters. You are investor, and as we just, as investor and as a bank. So that unique collaboration is very, very special. But this relationship touched me. It has spanned over, that project has spanned over 3 archbishops. Your Grace, the Archbishop, Dr. Stephen Samuel Kazimba is the 3rd Archbishop I'm relating to. But the relationship has remained the same. So we institutionalized the relationship. It's not personalized. That, to me, is what is the great thing about this relationship. It's a relationship between Equity Group and the Church of Uganda. So when Archbishop visited me, you can imagine he comes to Nairobi and asks the Archbishop of the Church of Kenya, can I see James? Fortunately enough, he's a very good friend of mine. So he picked his phone. Unfortunately, I picked the phone and he says, we are coming. And you could imagine hosting 2 archbishops in an office. What an honor and a privilege. So when he asked me to come, I just said, yes, I'm on the way. The way, you know, and that is what favor is, when you win favor of others. And I want to say how grateful I am. But let me go to the subject today I was asked to talk about. I was asked to talk about how the church, and I assumed is the Church of Uganda, can be a self-sustaining institution. A self-sustaining institution as it propagates the gospel. And I wondered, how many people ever think about sustainability? We are very busy with the present challenges, that we never think about the future. We don't think we are responsible for the future. Sustainability means continuity. It's like succession, it's successive existence. And when I saw Bishop asking me to talk about sustainability in the setup of propagating gospel, I said, really, this is one of the most visionary, future-oriented leadership that I have ever met. I think the leader of the environmental sustainability talked to us about plastic. But let me go take the picture a little bit above that. The world is where it is because we never adopted sustainable environmental management. And we snapped. We are now talking of climate change that is threatening. It's an existential threat to survival of humanity. Why? Because we never thought about sustaining it. Everything on earth has only exists because of an equilibrium position. If that equilibrium position is disrupted or lost, then sustainability is lost. The world, the global climate has resorted into ravages of droughts, floods, excessive heat that is now causing great danger through forest fires. And the question is, how much far can we go? How much more can we go? And when you look at it, at the bottom of lack of sustainability is human greed. It's human greed, nothing else. So when you see a leader overcoming, the greatest challenge humanity has is to overcome greed. When you think about the future, is when then you recognize that that person has overcome the challenge of greed. That is the person who plants a tree today when they are 80, knowing they will never benefit from the shade of that tree. But they know they are trustees of the future generation. This earth doesn't belong to us. I believe the Church of Uganda doesn't belong to us. We are just trustees who are doing what we have to do for the future generations who will be members of the Church of Uganda. And I was really deeply impressed to say, if that is how the leadership of Church of Uganda is, I'm glad I'm a partner to them and a collaborator. And I will strengthen this relationship by coming to say, if nothing else, that I'm proud to associate with that kind of thinking. It's really very futuristic. You are future-proofing the future. You are knowing your responsibility is not for the present. Leadership, great leadership, is not necessarily entangled with the problems of today. It's ensuring there are no problems into the future. Because if problems start today, future generations will not be able to reverse those challenges. And that is why there is extension. And that's why we are where we are in climate. We are unable to reverse the melting of the glaciers. And consequently, the sea water level is rising and carrying out or drowning most of the islands. Now you can imagine all the people who live in islands. And if we continue the same pace in 50 years, there will be very few islands on Earth because the glaciers. And you can see however much we try, we are unable to reverse because the mistake could have been stopped from happening. And so that is what I thought, is what great visionary leadership that thinks of sustainability. And that is why I came. But then as I was preparing to come and talk to you, I checked on the Church of Uganda Provincial Strategic Plan, 2016 to 2025. And I then saw your three broad objectives. And I saw the third one. I saw the third one says, promote holistic transformation among communities. The word holistic captured my imagination. Because essentially, one would associate the church with propagating the gospel. But there is enlightenment in this church that you have to go beyond the gospel for you to be successful. And so I could now identify where sustainability is coming from. It's that holistic approach to issues. That the person you preach to is the one who is running away from ignorance, running away from poverty, and running away from disease. And so again, I could see, when I looked at the portfolio of your investments, I saw this. At that time, there were 6 universities from records. His Grace corrected me. One has proved not very sustainable. Now we can see what sustainability is. There are now 5. I saw the numerous schools, and I then could understand that this church is founded on a sustainable platform. And then I paid tribute to those who were ahead of us because I recognized we are just perpetuating a great foundation. And the question then that came to me is, as I looked the 4 focus areas of strategic change, then I recognized how committed you are to sustainability, the socio-economic focus. You know, propagating the gospel, I thought was spiritual. But when you look at socio-economic focus, that is a true test of reality. You are living present times. You have confronted and you have accepted reality. I looked at the third one, community engagement focus. I realized you have recognized that a church can never be complete on its own. We complete each other. And community really completes institutions. And then the institutional development focus. And I liked my colleague partner, the Bible Society. And he says he's praying for us in Kenya for peaceful elections. And I was very privileged that in 2003, I was asked by President Kibaki to lead a team to develop the long-term strategic plan of Kenya and development plan for Kenya. And then when we did it in 5 years, 2007, he said, James, chair the Vision 2030 Delivery Board. So I've served this until 2020. The good thing is the Kenyan economy is 11 times bigger than when we started Vision 2030. And so it related to me, this documentation, that you have a strategic plan and sustainability is embedded in it. Let me assure you that organizations, countries are sustained by institutions. And I was very impressed observing the institutions in church that really sustain church. Kenya, we were lucky the strategic plan had the new constitutional dispensation. We called it the governance pillar. Unfortunately, and I regret, we prioritized economic agenda, infrastructure, roads, power, electricity before governance. We didn't have a new constitution 2008, 2007. There were no institutions to sustain society. Close to Kibaki's end of term, we realized we had to do it 2013. We gave ourselves the new constitution with very strong institutions of government. Unfortunately, 2017, they were too young. There was infants. They didn't hold very well. We survived. But as you can see now, the institutions are holding the country. Sustainability requires institutions to embed the policies and principles on institutions. It is institutions that sustains and perpetuate ideals that we believe in and that we want. So ideally, I like the way you have built institutions. But the question we have is the strength of building the institution. And maybe that's what I would like to say a couple of words when I looked at the 6 hospitals, looked at the 255 health centers and dispensaries, the 65 universities, the 55 theological colleges, the 20 teacher training colleges, 672 secondary schools, and almost 6,000 primary schools. You have truly built institutions. And I want to commend you and congratulate. And you should be very proud. Because we sustain things through institutions. And so, when the Vice Chancellor talked about, he talked of the best university in Uganda, the only university that produces bishops. What else, Vice Chancellor? And on and on and on. Look, you can see when you create the structures, chancellor, as vice chancellor after vice chancellor, the institutions continue to grow. But when I looked at these institutions and thought through more, and so the membership, the enrolled membership in those institutions, 3.7 million, I saw the significance and the impact this Church of Uganda has in society. Then I realized the church has gone beyond the gospel and has institutionalized itself. So the big test then started when I started asking myself, and how sustainable is the environment? And I want to say a little bit, when I did a deep dive, I started getting scared. I checked how many schools and universities have been built in the last 5 years. And PS, do you have the number? I saw the rate of building and construction is declining. I don't know, I got it wrong? I'm right. And the question is, if you are not growing, you are dying. You are either growing or, and dying is not an aspect of sustainability. So I thought I would highlight it to you that the momentum of the church is on a decline. And I may be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. If I'm not wrong, you need to start worrying about sustainability a bit. And then I decided, let me look at the percentage distribution on the Ugandan population. And I saw Church of Uganda in 2002 had 36.7% of the population as Anglicans. 2014, it had come down to 32. PC, what is it today? Again, it's declining. And I then said, decline is not an indicator of sustainability. It's not an indicator of sustainability. Then I asked myself a few more questions and about financial sustainability. That's what I'm good at, financial sustainability. And I saw somehow the church is still over-dependent on donor aid and funding. In 2015, the provincial secretariat was 80% dependent on donors. 60 years after, the church is still, and the question is, we are seeing the donors gradually declining. The question is, if the donor funding disappeared, will we still have our secretariat? And if we continue to have it, what would be its shape if it lost 80% of its funding? That question bothered me a little bit. But I was assured that there is a thinking in that strategy we talked about. I saw the need to expand income resource base from 20 to 2015 to 91 by 2025. I realized, you need to be sustainable. The only question then I wanted to ask you, I wrote bishops, and with a lot of humility, are you walking the talk? Please, this time I will not ask you. But if we wanted to be fully independent by 2025, we are now 2022. 7 years are gone. Only 3 are remaining to the target date. Where are we? And that is the only, if you are not, I want to believe you are allowed 70. if you are not 70, then I want to really make a wake-up call that we better gain our sustainability. I also saw the target to reduce dependency on foreign donors from 80% 2015 to 10% 2025. So you certainly know what you ought to do. I knew the strategy is perfect. My challenge is, have you executed the strategy, Your Grace? That is the central question. We don't succeed because we have great strategies. We succeed because we execute our strategies. That's it. We walk the talk. And I really want to appeal to you as an Anglican that pursuit of sustainability is not a choice, but is the imperative. If the Church of Uganda is to, we'll pass it over to our grandchildren. I believe we can pass it to our children because we are with them to the church. But to see our grandchildren becoming archbishops and bishops, our sustainability must be our priority. And I think the lighting is on the wall. That is why you have these targets. You have already seen it. The crowds have formed. It will certainly rain. Let's not keep on saying we need an umbrella. Let's buy the what? The umbrella. We said, if we really care about our children, let's plant the tree under whose shade they will sit. That is what leadership is about. Leadership is not doing what benefits you. Leadership is doing what needs to be done by that generation. Our generation has the unique responsibility, the very unique responsibility of acquiring our financial sustainability for our schools, for our hospitals, for our dispensaries, for our governance structures like the provincial, synod, and the others. But let me then leave you with hope. That the world has never been changed by the multitude. The world has only been changed by men and women who find a cause they are willing to die for. If we are willing to pay the ultimate price, then you have the capacity and ability to change the world. Sustainability will come at a price. And the question is, are we willing to pay that price as the current leadership? If we are willing to pay that price, sustainability will come into place. We don't give because we have a lot, but we give because of the generosity of our hearts. I want to appeal to you to find generosity in providing leadership to be able to get where we need to be and to be able to get us to the right place. So I just want to recommend 6 items that, or just make 6 recommendations that can help the church achieve self-sustaining status as it propagates the gospel and future-proof the stability and equilibrium of the church. The first one is leadership and management. Sustainability will not be achieved unless the leadership in this house chooses to deliver sustainability. An institution or our sustainability will be achieved or lost on the quality of leadership and management. No organization has ever been better than its leaders. The sustainability of this church is a mirror reflection of who we are as leaders. That's the naked truth. We don't like confronting it, but an organization can never be better than its leader. So the level of sustainability will reflect the commitment of the leadership. But I'm convinced that back in 2015, you had confronted this issue. You are very visionary. It's just to execute your vision. And that takes a lot of courage. It's stewardship of resources, as Proverbs 13, verse 23 says. The second one, other than leadership and management, the quality of leadership and management, and what we commit ourselves, and what legacy we want to leave. This is legacy. I want to applaud you because you chose what had never been done in 60 years to do, and you now have church house. Don't underestimate your capability. You know, sometimes we underestimate our capability. Church house was not a small project. And it's not a small project many years after it has been built. And it will never be a small project. It's a transformative project. Because once we pay the remaining quarter of the funding facility, the amount of money per annum that the church will be getting as an annuity, it will be a perpetual flow of cash to the church. That was a great achievement. Maybe it's more challenging than thinking sustainability, because that is physical. And bringing physical is not as easy. So the second one is organization culture. It's not about how great we are. It's about the culture that we build in the church. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you have a great strategy, but you have no organization culture of execution, then every morning, culture eats what? The strategy for breakfast. And then there is nothing for the day for the strategy. So let's build an organization culture as a church, either of execution or doing what needs to develop. I'm suggesting developing a culture that drives serious creativity and innovation, because that's what you need. You need to be innovative. If you do things the way you have been doing, the outcomes will always be the same. I was once told that doing the same things and expecting different results is called what? Insanity or madness. I didn't say that, you said it. I just amplified so that everybody could hear. But essentially, we must build a new culture focused on sustainability. A culture that we say we hold ourselves to this, we are accountable, and will be dependable, because that's who we are. Culture defines the character and personality. The third one is corporate governance. Corporate governance is the structures of holding us to account to what we commit ourselves. There is no need of doing a strategy if we have no intention or the will to execute it. We need to be held to responsibility, to accountability. We are in a position of trust. That trust, we need to account for it. We need to be responsible for it. And that is the governance structure that guarantees delivery. The countries that have made the greatest progress at the moment are the countries that will have very, very strong governance structures of holding people to account. The countries, tell me of a country that is hopeless, and I will show you a country without governance structures. Nobody is held accountable. If nobody is held accountable, is it possible to hold ourselves accountable in church? Or we'll hide under the gospel and say, no, but this is not propagating gospel. We agreed the principle first is right, that it's more than. The fourth one is the business model of our institutions. Most of our institutions were built during the donor era. The donor funding has dried, but we haven't changed the business model. That model was of grants and donations. We were sustained by grants and donations. Donations and grants have disappeared. We can't keep the same business model for our institutions. We must build a new business model that take into account that there are no grants and there are no donations. Once you remove them, then I prayed for you to be innovative and creative. You find solutions of sustainability in an environment without grants and without donations. But unless you confront that challenge and be bold, because at first you'll be misunderstood. Heavily misunderstood. When you confront, why they're changing the church? Lord, we need to change the church for sustainability, isn't it? So ideally, courage is required. And great courage. You are men of faith and women of faith. I think you need to be bold, courageous, and if you dare more, be audacious. Then you'll be the generation that will put Church of Uganda on the path to sustainability of our institutions. Please don't hide, don't bury your head in sand. The ostrich does it whenever it senses danger, particularly of fire. But does the fire stop because the ostrich has put its head? The threat to the institutions will not disappear because you have refused to confront the problem. So better confront the problem. Be the men and women of courage who will be recorded for your legacy of boldness and courage. The time to change has come. And unfortunately, you are the men and women on the steering wheel. Change before the accident occurs. Of the institutions that you got, but you will be condemned for never handing them over to the next generation. So we are only asking you to pay the price of courage, to rethink and to relook the business model. The good thing, or the bad thing, is that financial sustainability is very key to the institutions you are running. All of them have financial dependence. So I would really say, as we focus on sustainability, the need to focus on financial sustainability is key and central. How do we replace donor funding? How do we replace grants? Where will money come from? Who will pay the price? Who will feel the pain? Let's make them feel the pain. Let's not be worried that the membership will shrink. Sustainability will not shrink the membership. It will eliminate the membership. So you are better off with a smaller membership than with no membership. And sometimes we don't see it coming. Because sustainability is elimination. It's like, let's look at, they are called the survival tactics. If you go to one of the national parks,
and you see an antelope, be aware that antelope every day runs faster than the fastest lion. That's the only way it survives. And if you see a lion surviving, it's because it runs faster than the slowest antelope. Those are the rules of survival. The question is, if we are antelopes, we must run faster than the lion. But if we are a lion, we must run faster than the slowest antelope. It may be the sequel, but it's a game of survival. So it is important and imperative we know the rules of natural justice. It will not disappear. That is what the survival institutions is. Now, the institutions you have are competing with the institutions of private sector. If they are not financially sustained, the death starts by, they are not able to provide the quality that the private sector is. So students start disappearing. Patients start disappearing. So you can see you eventually die. So you better take responsibility to stop death. The alternative that there is the private sector institutions. And they are not for free like you. Then why don't you charge half of their price and sustain? Because you are not building, you are sustaining. You are not charging to make a profit. You are charging to make sustainability and to serve. Those are just suggestions. And I'm suggesting them, Your Grace, as an Anglican. So I will increase my tithing if you make the decision. Because that's what logical members will do. They will rationalize. All that you need to do is to listen with the people. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. Let's call them together. Let's listen to them. Let's empower them with the knowledge, and then we work together with them. I liked what our PS did, this recognizing and acknowledging partners. I want to say the sixth recommendation I would make is building robust value-creating strategic alliances and partnerships. Broad-based coalitions of like-minded partners, whether it's government, whether it's individuals like Right Honorable former Prime Minister, whether it's the private sector. Church House is a symbol of collaboration and partnership. The question is, the church must understand that it exists in context of an environment, and that environment has a lot of people. The question is, can we align interest? Like the way we aligned with Equity. Equity was looking for a headquarters at the right address. You know, we walk tall. There is no, when we now write, we don't say we are in Church House alone. We say Church House opposite Central Bank of Uganda. So the only bank next to Central Bank is only Equity. Now you can see how aligned the interests are. We'll never move out of that address. Forever you have a tenant. Because we align the interest perfectly. Perfect alignment. When we want to draw money from our central bank account, actually we hire a vehicle for 2 minutes. If security is good, you put the money in your socks and you cross over. Actually, you can carry the box as if you are, because, you know, you are not exposed. So ideally the question is, can we align? I saw the alignment with housing, finance, Bible society, environmentally. That, I really appreciate what I've seen today. Realizing we complete each other. The church, the person it preaches to, and call one of the 12 million members, is what Equity calls its member also.
Your followers are my members. They are the members of HF, and they are the members who are being asked not to stop using plastic. It's the same people. Why then can't we take an integrated, holistic approach, if I may add there? An integrated, holistic approach. And that is what will create sustainability, because nobody owns the world alone. We jointly own the world. So we jointly have responsibility to the world and its sustainability. The schools you are providing for is for the children of my customers. The hospitals you are providing for is for patients, is for my customers when they are unwell. That is how integrated the world is. For the church to recognize that then we have got it right and we are on the path to sustainability. Working with others to complete each other, to complement each other, and to support each other. The greatest sustainability is having a common purpose. And Your Grace, I'm really humbled by the church's outreach to society. Let me give you, as I close, the two examples. I joined Equity Building Society then, 28 years ago. It was number 66 out of 66. It was technically insolvent. But I realized one thing, that the customers were looking for value, and me, I was looking for customers. I said, what about if I gave them value that differentiates me from other banks? They see I'm building for the same price. I'm giving greater value. Today, for every 10 accounts that will be opened in Kenya, 7 will be opened in Equity, and the other 43 banks will share the other 3. Don't ask me how they share. We came to Uganda and we were registered as a bank number 24. I'm reliably informed we are now number 5 in just a short period. Simply, it's alignment of interest. Just align interest and everybody will follow you. And but that is not as easy. You must ask yourself because it is easier to think of the self. But what about if I thought of you and caused you to think about me? Because that's the inverse. I think about you, and in the process, I make you think about me. We have created a sustainable world. Thank you very much.
Can you imagine somebody leaving his office, traveling from Kenya, leaving his family, coming in Uganda for this provincial assembly? It is an indicative of a big heart and love, especially as an Anglican from All Saints Cathedral, Nairobi. Thank you very much, and we want to appreciate you for challenging us, especially when you talk about leadership, management, stewardship, leaving a legacy. I think that's very important. Organization culture, results-oriented ministry, because I'm challenged to know you cannot produce results better than the leaders you have. Corporate governance, responsibility, business model of our institution. It is really challenging to know that the business model by then was donor and gun oriented. And today we have donor fatigue everywhere. And I think this has to now to work on our conversion of the head, the heart, the hands, which a mindset change. Thank you very much for, I think you can agree that this was the right person to invite for this province. After COVID-19 challenged us, church buildings were closed to public worship, no offertories, no tithe. And I was very much impressed. I was visiting Uncle the other week. The projects and the Millennium Circle and the commercial buildings in town and the other dioceses. I think our rapporteurs will help us to contextualize his speech so that we discuss it more and more in our context to suit what you are discussing. Because our church, as you know, a faster growing, sustainable, Christ-centered church is our vision. And as you remember, those of you who read about Henry Vane, he was advocating for what? Self-propagating, self-governance, and self-sustaining, the 3 S's. I think we have done very well, especially self-governance. Tick. And self what? Propagating, yeah, we train our clergy, we do. But this area of self-sustenance, that is where now we need to come out so strongly. And thank you so much for all your insights. We'll have them, we have business people, and your team and others, so that we have more time. We had a leadership summit, and Dr. Anthony Chituka was one of our speakers. And this was Zoom, because we had no option, no choice, Zoom. And we can't go back. I think Honorable Mbabazi loves this slogan, moving forward. I think he loves that so much. It's biblical. No turning back, but I think we are so grateful, and thank you very much. Our prayer is, dear CEO, we appreciate that you have, when we talked with you, you suggested now 2 more flowers we are taken, and we are remaining with now 4, right? 4 flowers which are empty at our church house. And I want to assure you, none of us will complain when you take all the flowers. None of us. Is there anyone with a genuine reason why Equity Bank shouldn't take a... Please raise your hand if you have a... Or else you keep your peace. Thank you so much. Let us clap our hands and appreciate. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you so much, Your Grace, and thank you, our guest of honor, for honoring our invitation and coming to officially open this assembly. And I believe assembly is now officially opened. And before we break for our tea, we want to ask Equity Bank as some gifts to give. So may I invite the team that has this to come over and do it quickly. Then after that, we shall break for our tea. It's waiting for us. Tea will be served within a short time and it's coming to midday. So Equity Bank, some gifts, please. Actually, it's going to ask the CEO, Group CEO, to hand it over to His Grace. Your Grace is receiving gifts. That is, wow. Gifts nowadays are not anything to hide. That's a drinking cup. Thank you. And that is a notebook. So you will use it on behalf of the Provincial Assembly members.
Thank you very much. You know, it's good to open it. The mafias may think the man was given a lot of money. And they are attacking me, but these are bandits. Thank you so much. May God. And my name's definitely, each time I'm taking a cup of tea and taking my notes and writing, will be praying for you. God's blessings, Sister Paul.
So now it is a moment of photo with the guest of honor, and the one leading is where we're going to be, or just in the garden. Please, let's walk together in the garden and take a group photo. And after the group photo, bishops, you are going to have your tea at the principal's hall. The rest of us, we have tea on the left, we have tea on the right. Take it by grace. And let us pray before you leave. Father in heaven, we thank you for this session. We thank you for the guest of honor. We thank you for the moment of the photo that we are going to take. We thank you for the tea that is laid before us. We pray that you bless it to give us strength to